country without electricity, without power, um, without power of without power of any kind, really. Um, and it's going to be very very difficult to see how you can sit in a room with them and and negotiate a peace with people that have murdered so many of your civilians and have put them through torture. There is a map of the country that that should give you some sense of it should give you some sense of what happened. The light orange, is that orange? Very light orange is Ukraine. The a brighter orange is the areas that are in dispute. Those are the areas that Russia hasn't won, but somehow they think they want it. Now, not really. Not really. I really don't think they're going to make a claim for Sumy, Kharkiv. The ones that they're mostly interested in, the one that has created all of the controversy is in the southeastern corner, where it says Donetsk Oblast, and you see Pokrovsk, and you see a little black mark there. That's roughly where the Donbass fortifications are, and the places they're interested in. What they're interested in is pretty much from about where that black mark is over to the Zaporizhia Oblast. That's the part they want, because that has become impregnable to them. They have not been able to take it. Here's a better. This will give you a little better picture of the whole country, and where you see all of those. Well, you see all of these here. This is all the places they hit. So you can see it was quite a massive attack. Some of it turned back, a lot of it not. The end result is that the people of Ukraine are starving to death, are not starving, are freezing to death as a result of the actions of Vladimir the Terrible. And it's its biggest aerial strike of the year, possibly of the war. Now, all of this seems very much like a routing and a real great defeat or let's not say defeat for Ukraine, a real great victory for Russia. But in order to get where they are, Russia has lost 2.5 times more troops than Ukraine. They've made a massive reduction in their military and in their support personnel. In the case of Ukraine, a lot of the deaths and casualties have been civilians. And as you can see from the apartment buildings that have been hit and the other things that have happened, they make no attempt to not do that. Exactly what he's accomplished with this, I don't know. I don't know. He's diminished his army by about 325,000 troops. Now, that may count the North Koreans that he killed off and some of the others that he's conscripted. He's got about another 700,000 casualties, people injured, various degrees of injuries. And there are about 2.5 Russian casualties for every Ukrainian casualty. And half of Moscow's budget, half the budget of Russia goes to the military. That's an extraordinary amount of money for a country that's in financial difficulties. And now he's obsessed with taking those cities that I told you. If we go back to when you see, if you look down more to the southern part of the map, and you see Pokrovsk and Donetsk, that's the area in which he's most interested. But notice he hits all over the country, really, just to do damage and to create terror. This is as much a terrorist war as it is a traditional war. It's a war conducted to some extent in the civilian population to discourage them and to terrorize them. Sometimes in a war you miss the human toll of it. But the Post had an article of an absolutely lovely couple, Valery Kochkov and his wife Valentina. They were blown up on January 27th. She was blown up first, injured very seriously. He came to her aid, and while he came to her aid, he was hit one time. He continued to move her toward the hospital, and then they were both blown away. And this was an attack at a residence. They're not political. They're not. 3 drones altogether hit them, and they're just regular people. They do live along the Russian border at, I think it's pronounced Rabovsky. I'm going to tell you something that I just know in my bones because I know the country really well. You see that couple there? Odds are 9 out of 10, that couple 12, 13 years ago voted for the Russian party in Ukraine, given where it's located. Not too far from Kharkiv. I have many, many friends in Kharkiv. And they were all Russian. Kharkiv was like New York and Chicago and California are the Democrats to the Russian party. 7, 8 out of 10. Putin couldn't get a vote there now. There or in Kharkiv. Kharkiv has made it clear that he'll get Kharkiv. They did a Churchill. You'll get Kharkiv when you kill all of us, because of the way he double-crossed them in 14. They never expected that he was going to start attacking them. They probably would have made peace with him. And then they found out who he is. You know, when you find out who he is, you don't have to treat him that way. You just have to make your decisions that way, if you understand what I mean. So the Russians, I guess, while they're discussing peace, are going to continue to make war, which makes it very, very hard to take them seriously. That they don't want to get every last inch, and that they'll just continue it and reopen it, and for this war to end with them having the appearance of a victory will be a disaster going forward for Ukraine. The alien attacks that we have in the United States, I think I pointed out in the earlier show, the attacks on the vehicles are up 3,000%. The number of attacks on vehicles is 8 to 10 times what they've ever been. As a result of that, people have died and people have been seriously injured. And they're carried out, when you find the people who did it, almost always by people like this Venezuelan national Luis Jesus Acosta Gutierrez, who has smashed into 7 or 8 vehicles. He's got a long record in Cuba. He's a Venezuelan national, but he comes from Cuba, which gives you a sense of how well connected they are together. So it doesn't seem to me that we're going to get an agreement that makes sense for the Ukrainian people until Putin stops killing them. When he's tired, when his bloodlust is over, then we can end it. Now, there are other ways to end it. We could give the Ukrainians the missiles that they sorely lack that would allow them to make Russia pay a very heavy price for what they're doing. We could tighten up. I think we have, but I think we could tighten up even more. Continue to tighten up the sanctions. And that's happening. The agreement with India that we made is in part the reason we put 100% tariff on it, because they were buying Russian oil. They will no longer be buying Russian oil. Russia will have only one major legitimate out front customer, and that's China. And of course, they're going to be doing some here and there, but by now cutting off India, this should have even more of a deleterious effect on their oil prices and on their economy. The situation in our country with regard to transgender is something that we've spent a lot of time on, and it is very, very good to see that the National Academy of Plastic Surgeons has American Society, of Plastic Surgeons has come to the definitive conclusion that transgender surgeries for minors should be illegal, and that you should not be able to get one until you're 19 years old, no matter what. No matter what. I mean, in a state like a communist Minnesota, you can get it against the wishes of your parents. Whatever happened to you reach a majority at 18, and that's when you can make decisions on your own. Not so if you somehow get this inclination that you're a boy and you want to be a girl, or you're a girl and you want to be a boy, and it sort of takes possession of you, well, then you fall into the hands of people who push you in that direction. Now, they not only push you in that direction, they push you in that direction because at the other end of the rainbow for them is $400,000 to $500,000. And that's why they're pushing you. Almost every, I shouldn't say every, many of the European countries have come to the conclusion that that we have to be much more. We've just got to be much more careful, and I hope that's the case. I hope we've got so many things to think about. It would seem to me that we could borrow a little wisdom here from the European countries that have investigated this with less political pressure on them, and they've come to the conclusion that the stricture laid down now by the American Society of Plastic Surgeons is correct. You've got to be at least 19. Some actually argue for 24, but 19 before you can remove your genitals or remove your breasts, or which have been done. The woman who won the case, Vernon, I think her name is Vernon Fox. The woman who won the case at 13 years old started to have feelings that she really wanted to be a boy. She says that she had actually just a total of 2 30-minute sessions with a psychiatrist which would mean that for an hour, he got himself about a $450,000 operation. I think he was swayed. He didn't tell her what is in fact the safest thing to tell her, which is wait, see what happens. You're not going to commit suicide. In fact, the people on the other end of this commit suicide more than the people on this end of it. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is the people who have the surgery and go over to a different sex, and then all of a sudden, this poor girl, she's dressed up as a young lady again, but her breasts have been removed. I mean, that's a hell of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and she's not getting them, and she's not getting them back. Here she is. What a cute girl. That's Fox Varian. Now, for this, she won the first lawsuit against these animals. Right. $2 million. And boy, she should have won 10. Because I don't know what the kid's going to go through. I'm looking at her face and I'm saying this looks like a positive kid. But we pray for her and we hope that that's the case. It is not the law now. What I'm saying is his recommendation by the Plastic Surgeon Association. But it should be the law. It's the law in England. I wouldn't imagine the law of Sharia will change that one.
Yeah.
Right? Probably going to end the whole thing from being a problem. The Super Bowl is coming up this weekend.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Sam Darnold is going to lead the I'd probably call him the Los Angeles
you have
Rams consistently. I probably called them that when they were in Arizona.
Well, it is the LA Rams, but they're not in it. It's the Seattle Seahawks.
No, but I was thinking of the Rams.
Yeah, they're in LA now. They're back in LA. They left.
I'm so confused. The Rams are in LA.
Yes. The Chargers are also in LA.
The Chargers from San Diego are in LA.
The Raiders are in Las Vegas.
And the 49ers are in San Jose.
Santa Clara. But
Santa Clara?
They call themselves the San Francisco 49ers, but they play in Santa Clara, almost an hour south.
It's a nicer area, honestly.
Well, yeah, it's nicer weather. There's no question about it, although it's colder in San Francisco.
Santa Clara is much nicer than like the Bay Area in terms of living.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for our sensibilities.
40-minute ride.
Right.
And
nice
it is
business
complaining.
Owners and
it is complaining that they're not getting the traffic and the economic return because it really is the Bay Area, the San Francisco, where they're celebrating the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's true. And there is a very, very good article in the Wall Street Journal about Sam Darnold and how it took him about 4 years to really emerge as a really good quarterback. And how, Ted, how do you compare the quarterbacks? May and Darnold.
Look, they're two strong young quarterbacks. Darnold's been playing a little bit longer, but they have really good offensive lines. You know, they're both well coached, and so it'll they're physical. Drake May's can be a very physical quarterback. They both threw for over 4,000 yards this year. Sam Darnold had 25 touchdowns. Drake May 31. But of course, some of these stats, a lot of it is determined by game situations, other aspects, right? But when you take a look at both of them, Drake May, this is his first season as the starter from the beginning, and he's going to the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold, he's kind of been a journeyman the last few years, playing for some different teams, but he was very successful in Minnesota last year. And that's what convinced the Seahawks to give him a big contract. And this will be he is actually the first quarterback to go to a Super Bowl. Well, okay. He's at the first one. If he wins, he'll be the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
after playing for 4 previous teams.
Yeah, there are a couple have gone as Marino did. Marino went Marino went as a rookie,
right,
to the Super Bowl and lost.
right,
A couple did,
right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's been others that have been there.
but Marino lost to Montana.
Yeah. Right.
That's
right. What's that?
Well, Montana was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
Montana was
Right,
like
right. Going up against Joe Montana.
Joe Montana was a quarterback, Ted.
Right.
no, Joe Montana was a fourth quarter quarterback. He's like Brady, except when the Giants played.
Yep.
The Giants had a perfect Super Bowl record against the Patriots. Met them twice, beat them twice, and they had a very good record against Montana. I mean, those years were the years of LT and the Giant. Great defense, and it really was. They were very good matchups.
Right.
Excellent matchups.
So do you have a pick? Who's going to win?
Not yet. We'll do it on. We'll do
some analysis.
Friday.
We'll do it on Friday.
Yeah. So,
No inclinations, no hints.
That's what I'm searching my inter self here to see if there's an inclination or a feeling.
It's gonna.
No, not yet. Not yet. They're both very, very tough teams. They both have the ability to come back,
as we saw,
which is critical. That you can't put them away.
Seahawks are a 4.5-point favorite.
The
Seahawks.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense, huh?
Yeah.
I think that would make sense. I think it makes sense. So now let's talk about Iran. And this is a very difficult situation in Iran, because we're coming down right to the end here. I have never, in all the time that I've been involved in the dissident movement against Iran, seen them in worse shape or more capable of being overthrown, like this. Their economy is in terrible shape. All of their supporters are running for the hills. They're on their own. And we've got an armada there that, I don't know, might take out China. The protesters, no matter what we do, there'll be a great disappointment if President Trump does not conduct some form of very, very strong retaliatory attack for the mass murders that they did after he told them not to, and warned them that there would be great consequences. So there'll be great disappointment when that's the case, and that will dry things up for a while. But this will just happen again. These people have had it with the tyranny under which they are living. You don't get demonstrations in 400 cities when the price of demonstrating is death, unless things are horrible in the situation. So I would say that don't know the ground, what's going on the ground, but it would seem to me that a couple of very, very, not a couple, a lot of very well-placed aerial attacks, taking out their defensive capacity and taking out a good deal of their IRGC will just make it the task for the freedom fighters who are being killed indiscriminately easier. And they have plenty more to come in. They have plenty more to come in. It should not be a
video if you want.
Yeah. Now this press conference concerns the fact that the response that you saw after our attack, in which they killed, they say 3,000 and others say 10 to 20 to 30,000, was very, very well planned to not take out the population per se, but to take out the biggest obstructions to the population. So let's take a look at some of the video that we have.
Providing details. And today, the National Council of Resistance of Iran U.S. Representative Office held a press conference right here in Washington discussing the uprising in Iran in January 2026, providing details and evidence about how the Iran regime had lined up all of their forces, had planned for years to prevent the resurgence of the uprisings in Iran. And despite all their efforts, despite tremendous allocation of resources and time and getting all the officials involved, nevertheless, they failed to prevent the resurgence of an uprising. And this uprising, which was greater and more expansive and more focused than all the previous protests, took place. And the regime failed to crush the will of a nation rising for change, despite the massive killing of the people, thousands of them massacred in Tehran and so many different cities all across the country. Nevertheless, the people are now more convinced that there's only one way to bring about change, and that's to confront the Revolutionary Guards, to fight, to organize, and keep the focus on the continued confrontation with the Revolutionary Guards. We provided details of an audio tape that we had obtained from one of the top secret meetings of the Iran regime that was attended also by the intelligence minister and so many other IRGC and Minister of Intelligence commanders to discuss how to prevent the uprising shortly before this uprising, clearly showing that the authority and the ability of the movement to know about what the regime is doing from some of the most secretive places, but also to show the failure of the Iran regime and the increasing conviction of the people of Iran to bring about change in Iran. We urge the international community, including the United States, this is the time to hold the regime accountable for their crimes against humanity. This is the time to pursue legal accountability measures against the regime, cut off their resources, cut off their access, expel their agents, and recognize the right of the people of Iran to bring about change in Iran. Recognize their right to confront the Revolutionary Guards, the IRGC, in order to bring about change in Iran. Change in Iran doesn't require foreign boots or appropriation of money. It will come by the people of Iran on the ground, because for a country as large as Iran, as populated as Iran, the change can only be affected by forces on the ground who are fighting for change. And that's what this movement represents.
Well, I was going... I forgot it was a tape, and I was asking him a question, or I thought it was either a tape or AI. I was going to ask him a question, but we'll pose the question when we come back, and we'll take a short break right now.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. You know that from just about the beginning of America's Mayor Live, we've been sponsored and been very honored to be sponsored by Tunnel to Towers. It's a labor of love. I've been with Tunnel to Towers from basically the day they started. And we usually video the recordings and play them. So we make sure we get them in and we get them in on time. But every once in a while, I do feel it's important that we reinvigorate. So I'm gonna give it to you straight from the heart. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation supports America's greatest heroes. Heroes, we all owe a debt of gratitude to them. U.S. service members and first responders who die or catastrophically injured in the line of duty, as well as those who have become homeless. The Foundation's Gold Star Fallen First Responder Smart Home and Homeless Veterans programs honor the sacrifices made for us by the men and women who risked their lives and bodies for our country, our communities, and our freedom. The Foundation's Never Forget programs engage thousands of people in September 11 remembrance across America through hundreds of runs, walks, climbs, golf outings. Every year, the Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute helps teachers educate children in kindergarten through 12th grade about America's darkest day, enabling our nation to keep its vow to never forget. Help support Tunnel to Towers and its important programs. Never forget 9/11 or the sacrifice our country's greatest heroes made on that day and thereafter. Just $11 a month. Donate it. Consider donating if you have it, a vehicle or land to change even more lives. Go to T2T.org. Well, we've got two major military actions going on right now that we're not involved in, but we're very close to. And God willing, if we do take action, which seems like probably we are, we could have casualties. It's very, very hard. I mean, it's very hard to come out of it without that. For first, let's show you, because overnight, who knows what can happen. Since there is a meeting on Friday, one would expect that it's not going to happen before Friday, but that's been proven wrong too. So this is a very brief array of our military forces that are there not to take out Iraq or to take out the Ayatollah. Most of what you see there is to protect if and when we take action to set back Iran. It would seem to me there'd be two parts to what, if we're going to do anything, we're going to do. One is to reinvigorate that program of getting rid of nuclear weapons on the chance that you left something behind. And that was a massive attack, and it might not be exactly the same places. There might be switches there, just to be sure, and let them start from the beginning again. Right. The second thing that will happen, I believe, is there will be a massive, unheard of in terms of dimension, attack on the military and other similar capabilities of the Iranian regime of terror. I didn't say we'll wipe out the entire regime of terror. I said the aim will be to wipe out their instruments of war and mass destruction, so that as weak an army as they are now, they'll be even weaker, and it'll make our job of stabilizing the place and moving it in the direction of Western civilization where it should be moving very, very, very quickly. So now, if you want to look, and that's not every ship that's there. These are the mainly the flagships. You can see in the southernmost point there, the strike group, right there, the Abraham Lincoln Strike Group. Now that's the group that was attacked or was attempted to be attacked by the drone that was taken out by one of our F-35s. But as you see, the designations of the countries are not as clear as maybe they should be, huh? What do you think? It could be.
Well, you can see where they're at. What do you mean exactly?
Well,
I guess Iran is a little bit hidden there, but you can tell.
Iran looks a lot smaller than it is because it's leaving out this whole part right here. Largely because that has not been occupied by the military, although they're very happy that they're free people.
Right.
Look at that. I mean, that probably represents about a third of what we really have there. And remember, they're defending 14 bases.
Right.
So it's not just Navy and the Coast Guard. And the Marines. It's the Army and the rest of them. Look at for the sake of look over here.
Well, Mayor, really quick.
Look at the coal.
Oh, actually, okay, we'll go back to that
Isn't
map.
that nice? That's out there. Yes, but
well, I was just going to say, we have actually Al Jazeera pulled up a map of the U.S. military installations in the Middle East. And like you were saying, it's not just the ships we're defending. This is now representative of bases where the U.S. has had a long-standing military presence. As you can see, multiple blinking dots on the map, including Cyprus, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, Turkey.
Abu Dhabi.
Oh, certainly.
Big one in Qatar, we know that.
Oh, yeah. So the force is there.
But notice he's really done it so that he can do it either way. If he just used those ships, he would take it out. He's got enough firepower on those ships to take care of that big chunk of the world. And it's a very impressive, very impressive group.
What do you anticipate happening there? How do you see the next? Where will we be a week from tonight? If you want to look, if you could look ahead, or is there just too many unknowns going into Friday?
There are a lot of variables too.
I would say I'll make an easy decision. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to attack. And we're going to do a surgical attack, and we're going to take out their installations in which they have the instruments of terror, the almost like law enforcement instruments, so they can keep a population under control.
Well, and what about ballistic missiles and other ground?
Well, ballistic missiles, hopefully we've taken out a large number of those already. We have pretty good idea on where the others are located. And I think they're going to be taken out.
And how crazy is it that they wanted to, during the upcoming negotiation, take the ballistics and like those things? They wanted to make it only focused on nuclear. And it's like, how are you going to do that? Right? Like, that's just against the nature of the very negotiation that we're trying to have.
Ooh. So I don't know where it's going to come from. They're challenging this. I mean, it's amazing. They really have arrogance. They challenged our biggest vessel. They went after the cream of the crop, the biggest part of the fleet, the Abraham Lincoln.
That was real smart.
Now Lincoln responded with airplanes and smaller craft, but
that's something.
Maybe they wanted to see it.
Well, I'd be nervous, right? If there's a giant armada steamrolling its way to me, I want to know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, not a bad choice.
Like all they had is, geez, one drone.
So we'll see if we can find this will give you a better.
What are you after here?
I'm looking for the ship, a good shot of the ship.
Oh,
if we have it.
Oh, those are something.
Well, I think we're not going to find that one right now.
Oh, yeah, we got it. Yeah, this is the one there right now. Is this the Lincoln? Which ship are we looking for? The Cole?
The Lincoln. The Cole, I don't want to say it this way, but I think the Cole is there for rah-rah effect.
I got you there.
Here's the Lincoln.
Yeah, quite a ship, huh?
Incredible.
There
and honestly, when it's moving too and launching,
it doesn't even look that big, but it's gigantic.
Oh,
it's a couple of city blocks.
You can't even see the people on there.
Notice how defended it is.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Those ships alone could do plenty of.
That's right.
Plenty of damage.
That's right, Mayor. And so it'll be interesting, of course. Talks set for Friday. Now in Oman, the U.S. has agreed to meet in Oman. This is scheduled for Friday.
And have we agreed to
the
narrow?
U.S. has confirmed Wednesday.
Have we agreed to narrow the issues?
Steve Witkoff and Kushner will be there. Oman foreign minister will be the host and also present. This will be the first time that Tehran and Washington has held talks since June. And again, this will just be the U.S. and Iran, with Oman also in the room. No word on what will be or will not be on the table.
Pardon me?
No word on what issues will or will not be on the table.
I think the
Oh, here we go. Okay, so
But they want to talk to the U.S. and the U.S. alone, it sounds like.
But it's my understanding that the Trump administration initially rejected that and then finally relented after lobbying from 9 Arab leaders. So I think maybe, see, but how does that even work? If you're at a negotiating table, how can you put it off limits, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to not talk to you and go away. Like, that's not a really good choice.
When you
for
go
them.
into negotiations with a preset list of items, so nobody's surprised. So you agree on what,
in this particular context. I get that, Ted, but
agree.
it's like in this particular context that almost becomes impossible, right?
Why is that?
Well, just because it's a necessary part of the entire global like situation that we have ourselves in over there, and we're just going to be back at the table with them.
I think it's a
soon.
trust issue with some of the others, and their focus on getting to President Trump. So they trust Oman more than Turkey. They have longer.
It's a one man operation,
right? And they know that,
right?
Yeah. So that
He's
these
very
other
much
issues,
has his own views. He's running things. Nobody else is going to tell him what to do.
and they know that.
Yeah.
So they're like, these other guys, great. All these other issues, sure, they're out there, but we want to save our own skin here, and we know there's one person that can give us that lifeline, should he choose to. And that's the president of the United States. This president.
I'm just thinking that like I don't think that anything's off limits for Trump, like ever, basically.
There are things that, like churches would be.
Yeah, of course, but again, this is.
Oh, I meant with regard to negotiating
Right,
like
right.
a peace, right?
Yeah, well,
like
remember, this is also what we're hearing, right, through public channels. So you're right. Obviously, they understand that this is a president that may do things differently than others, but they're still going to they. Again, what we're hearing is what the sides are publicly putting out. Yeah. So keep that, we keep that in mind.
so it's about what, like 60%.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Right.
60%. You then have the ethnic minorities, and it doesn't work out to a really clean 60%.
Right.
It's 60%, but it's hard to describe. It doesn't work out to a clean one.
Mm-hmm.
So now,
What do you think, Mayor, of ICE's decision? So ICE will now be wearing body cams, all federal officers. We talked about this a little bit last night. And do you support that and expanding that nationwide to federal law enforcement officials wearing body cams?
oh yes, I do. I mean, the police officers do, and I think it'll help clarify the words that were said, how they were said, how mean they were, how mean they weren't. It'll teach the police officers to be more restrained in their behavior, because a little thing can be taken out of context, as it often is. As long as they're not enforced the way they were enforced by the Shah, which was a fascist Nazi kind of enforcement by princes or something. I had to take one away from one of them. They had run it really into the ground.
How so?
They started using the U.S. attorney's offices to get out political messages, as opposed to leave them alone, let them prosecute the law.
Oh, like let's try to get footage of big crimes
Right.
type thing.
Right.
Okay. I understand.
And the more we win the election, the more it's our election, and we have something to say about what happens and how
People
it's gonna
did
be
vote
dealt
for
with.
this. People
Right.
voted for it.
So the next big thing that's going to happen is the opening is the bill, which makes us look very foolish. But in fact, I think it will go down as one of the smartest deals we ever made. And it will be, we just have to hope it goes right. We've got to hope that these things are in God's hands, but then they're, men can screw them up. Right now, the Ayatollah has come out of hiding for about the last 2 days, maybe 3. He's issued very few statements in that period of time, except very, very formalistic ones that could have been just a rewrite of his prior ones. I think he wants to leave a doubt as to whether he'll be the 6 o'clock person or the 7 o'clock person or something like that.
Could you explain that?
Well, what I mean by that is that the possibility of how we do this is somehow in Trump's mind, and it's driving me nuts because I can't get into his head, and he's doing things that would suggest. So the last strikes were at night, right? The last strikes were at night. And there's a reason for that. Of course, it's easier to evade even with the tremendous equipment that we have and the tracking and whatever. Every once in a while, it's sight. Every once in a while, you need sight.
And there's more people up to see it, I guess.
And so, is he going to switch it and do a daytime raid? Because they're expecting a nighttime raid. Second, how extensive will it be? So let's take a look. Let's take a look at Iran. We'll get a good. We'll get the one we can play with a bit. I think these here over here will be better.
What are you looking for? A map of Iran?
Here we are. We'll have to get. We had done some work on that one. It looks like, huh? We had done some work on this one, showing you the routes. So I would say that this here. Let's get rid of those lines there. So our forces are, let's put them in blue, somehow it's not printing. But our forces are here. Our forces are here. One here, the coal. Here.
And those are just the ships, too. We got bases.
All over. I mean, we got one here. We got one here. One in the Emirates and one in Qatar.
Wow.
One in Kuwait. Yeah. So this is the ship they engaged 2 days ago. They engaged it with a drone. The drone was driven back, and then they engaged it with a boat. They sent a boat through, both of which were embarrassingly easily disposed of.
Wait, the Iranians sent a boat?
Huh?
In addition to the drone?
Huh?
Okay, wow.
2 attacks, which is why I find the idea of a peace meeting a little ridiculous.
It's kind of like the Somali pirates trying to attack the Lincoln, right? You know, like, I'm the captain now.
Yep. Remember that?
Yeah, I do not understand how here you are planning. Should we be in Oman or in Turkey, and you're attacking us?
Right. Well, that's the question. But as of now, the talks are moving forward.
So we did find out that we did get the playbook for how they're going to deal with the protest from here on out, and it's murder. They're going to murder the people who are protesting, which is how would we expect anything different from the mullahs? That's what they plan to do. The attack that was made on us was by a drone headed for the Eisenhower with, I would say, not even a chance of hitting it. I mean, unless they have the Eisenhower completely confused with a lesser ship.
Well, it was probably more for recon, right? You're not gonna.
They never got that close. But in any event, they did it. We defeated it. They then tried to send a ship through. We captured it. And then they want to sit down and make peace. Okay. I don't know where that's going to go, how that's going to go. Question is, if they refuse the right now, we're going in with maximum demands.
Right.
If they meet the maximum demands, Trump's in a corner, right? He can't attack. If they meet a number of demands, but not the maximum demands,
what is the best thing that's going to bring a free and prosperous Iran? That I think that if we have that in a mind, then we can kind of deduce what the best way of achieving that would be.
First question is, can the revolutionaries on the ground, of which there are many of them, can they overthrow the IRGC? Are they capable of throwing over the IRGC, which is much better armed, and they are professional soldiers?
And are they loyal to each other and to the Ayatollah?
As far as we know, we have this thing from the Shah that 100 of them went over to the 1,000 of them went over to the Shah, but there's absolutely no evidence. None.
Because I couldn't imagine if I was a soldier and I was ordered to kill civilians like that.
And those 1,000 could be wiped out immediately.
Okay. But I think that there could be some room for people to have a little dissent within the IRGC, unless they're just too completely inhuman. But
yeah, I'm sure there is dissent within the IRGC, and I'm not sure we have a good feel for the exact dimensions of it.
Yes, and that's the problem with all of this, right? Like it's so hard to get the information.
Here's a couple of good questions. How much does what we're going to do depend on these negotiations, or how much are the negotiations a front? Does it matter?
That's the question.
Well, when you have very little leverage, as they do, the negotiation is kind of, in some ways predetermined, right? Like we're going to get what we want, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's just how to go about doing it, I suppose.
Right.
So the major issues that I think are open now are, how does Iran secure itself? How does it put itself in a situation that once you get rid of the Ayatollah, they can have a government that can go about making them a democracy, and with the 18 or 19 minority groups that have all signed up with the NCRI, will they be able to put together a coherent government for 3 or 4 years? I think with the larger groups they can. The Azeris and the Kurds and the Baluchis, they've worked together enough with the MEK that they'll be able to work that out. It's the other group, the smaller groups, that are going to be a little more difficult.
Well, those smaller groups
and distrusting.
Okay.
Because they've been screwed forever. So somehow you got to make a determination. Can this revolution succeed without an extra jolt of massive firepower to clean out the stables?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who knows? And so what are they saying at the NCRI? Because I think if I'm not mistaken, some of them are in favor of a big attack. Some of them want just support. And
I would say they come down to stay out of it because we want it to stay the way it is. Stay out of it because you'll make it worse and they'll hate America and it'll be hard to do the changes that we're going to make. Don't stay out of it because if you do, there's no assurance we're going to win. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. They're as shaky as they're ever going to be. There's no reason to believe they'll be shakier. So this is the time. This is the time to do it.
So you probably want to do a surgical strike in a way that doesn't piss off the masses, but really takes the head off the snake. And so, and I'm not a foreign policy expert, but if I were trying to choose the right path, I think that is probably the least damage, highest yielding route. But like I said, you can't take what I say. We all don't know that much.
It's worth provoking discussion. Yeah. There are only a couple of choices, right? Choice number one is we let them on their own and we back off. Choice number two is we help them with everything but firing into the crowds or firing. Choice number three is we take an active role to set up our relationship with the new government and assess it. And as part of that, we will have people trying to assemble enough information to figure out what we all do next. They have to be ready. Should they be victorious, they've got to be ready to put in the interim governments.
Provide security, stability, right. Try to at least.
They almost have to be doing that, even not knowing if they're going to win or not, because they got to be ready.
What's good though is they have a relatively low bar. The place has been an economic, sort of an economically depressed area,
right?
And so it's not like the bar is super high for a new entity to come in and start governing. The people are used to services being basically about 70% done by the government.
Now, I wonder if in the massacre plan, they had one plan they were focusing on because they're going to have 2 or 3 more. The plan that we seem to have right now is give in to our demands so that we can go forward with an Iran that is democratic, freedom of religion, has the guarantees that other countries have so people aren't afraid to live here. And then I guess if we don't do that, if we let this go by and we let it stand with 30,000 casualties, I fear that we lose the credibility that we've worked so hard to establish.
And at what point? And they have the firepower to where a 30,000. How many people were uprising in Iran for 30,000 to be dead? Because a good portion of the population would definitely turn on them in the case of a big massacre, like a bigger one than what we've already seen.
Maybe not.
But they're just that oppressive and authoritarian that they.
No. I think that's right. So I think it gets decided this weekend. I think that meeting on Saturday will tell us if it's a real meeting or it's a march in time meeting.
Oh my gosh, my heart's already starting to beat fast. Just imagine if you're those Iranians, right?
So the tension inside the country is unreal, right?
Oh my Lord. I bet you can bottle it up.
American forces shot down the drone over the Arabian Sea. and it was aggressively pursuing the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, and that's just to recap what we were talking about earlier. That was that and one boat.
Which really are in the nature of provocations, right?
Well, I mean, a mosquito bite, basically level of provocation, right? It's like a kid trying to use a toy to like spy on his neighbor.
So I think we'll find out over the weekend. The meeting on Friday is going to work or it's not going to work. And it's not going to work. And if it does work, we shouldn't believe it. That's a hard one.
What does it mean to work anyway, right? Like,
well, work means they would actually
solve a problem at the meeting and
like
be done.
When Putin said was going to be a 7-day ceasefire, there'd be no firing for 7 days. There are only 4. They're in bad faith. They're not seeking to settle it. But I do think that if we were to give them the just release the weapons that they need to use.
So wait, so who
you would get a settlement?
Okay.
They spend an awful lot of time not getting bombarded and hit, and really, really big time. Now they can be, if we just go ahead. If we just go ahead and hit them with this unbelievable. I mean, it is true. It's an armada. Mm-hmm. These are their bases. You want to take a look at their bases, and ours are in blue. They're the red ones are their bases. That's why Israel objected to what he was taking. It also would cut off a way to the sea for Italy. Italy would be surrounded by their fortifications. That's what they would. This at the height of their arrogance, that was their desire. So that was going to be the Islamic Republic, and then it was going to go all the way over here. I don't know how south they thought it would go. I doubt down here, but that's what they were looking for. Most of what we're talking about is in here. It's right in there. The Azeris, think of Azerbaijan, there it is, right? So the Azeris are right down here.
Is that a distinct ethnic group? Or is that just a distinct like?
The Azeris are a different ethnic group. They're more Turkish.
Okay.
Then the Kurds. The Kurds are here. On this side being a sort of I'd say this would be the area of maximum strength, right here.
And what would you, in terms of what, like
troops?
Their troops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and then I don't know if we've ever looked at a topographic map, but I think what is that area like? Is it mountainous?
Not terribly.
Not terribly mountainous.
No, you can march it. You can march a good deal of it. Not just there, but a good deal of it. So I think we'll know pretty early over the weekend of what's going to happen. I think we'll know that meeting will take place on Friday. Something will come out of that meeting. Will it be the usual? We had, frank discussions and we didn't kill each other. Or will it be something substantive? It may be something substantive. I think Putin's continuing to attack, should he do another attack and another attack, I'd call the meeting off.
Mm-hmm.
Or say, okay, it's over. And we're, we can't protect him this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll get a good evaluation, even as to the concessions that have to be made. The concessions that have to be made going into the meeting. And we're ready with firepower that's unmatched. So people should know that the mullahs are fighters. These are not a whole bunch of monks sitting in a monastery all their lives. A lot of them are very, very fierce fighters, and so is the MEK.
Well, here, actually, I just found an interesting graphic that you might be interested in. Mayor, if you want to check that out. It just shows sort of the way, like the different locations of the bases and how in the different ships and how Iran is basically surrounded. So that's the status. That's where
when they get up into the Red Sea, into the Suez Canal, they're going to probably want to go and swing around through the Mediterranean out to the ocean, or not get themselves locked in there. If they're a navy of 14 to 15 people, that should be enough. It should be enough. It should be enough to take some of these with special forces kind of groups. If that's what we're going to if that's what we're going to have to do. But I think we're pretty serious about no boots on the ground. Now, I don't know that these things have ever taken place with no boots on the ground, like none.
Well, we already have boots on the ground basically everywhere. So
frankly, we have boots on the ground right now. But what tells the CIA, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be. The outcome of it has to come out our way. Otherwise, we're in deep shape. So let's finish up with a few other things so that we're not behind tomorrow in case we come into an emergency tomorrow. There are a number of articles, very, very happily written by the reporters about how the GOP is in trouble. The Democrats lead on the generic ballot by 6 points. However, on certain issues, we still win. We beat them on terrorism, even though they don't like the way we handle illegal aliens. When I say don't like, it's like 56% don't and 40% do. And we still win on the following big time. Do you want people to come back into the United States the way they were coming in under Joe Biden? 80% say no. When you say, do you approve of the administration's tactics with ICE? 60-something% say no, and 40-something% say yes.
The problem is the people who are saying no are also burning down cities and attacking law enforcement officers.
And who knows if they even have the right to vote?
And it's causing explosions that result in harm to their communities.
100%.
They're egging it on. And you know why? It's to distract from the fraud. That was the whole story in Minnesota was fraud. They had to ramp up the dial in order to distract from that. And as of now, they've sort of had a lot of success in that regard.
Right.
but narratives can shift, right? And
things change.
Yeah.
The things in sports change all the time because it's a very dynamic endeavor. So, what's your thinking on the Guthrie case? Because we didn't really talk about that much in this hour.
Well, it's more, what are your thoughts on it? I think it's a terrible tragedy if it is what they're saying it is, perhaps a kidnapping or I see. But my father was a geriatrician, and he had multiple patients that have wandered off, but she didn't have dementia, if that's
Right.
my understanding. So it wouldn't have been a confusion situation. Perhaps she wanted to leave intentionally and left with someone
Yeah.
of her own accord and just didn't want a part of it anymore. But it was nice. Her home was nice, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we're going to find out soon enough, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of eyes on it. If you're
So the question will be what of the past should we have the chance of taking it over, or our emissaries? How much of the past do we bring along, and how much do we change the nature of the government? And I think we're going to be guided very nicely by the story of the people.
with regard to Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how can we focus on anything else but Iran, honestly?
Right.
Yeah. And I guess just listening to voices like the ones that you have on and other credible resources, we've been consuming a lot of Iranian briefings and such, and just getting an understanding of that to inform the decisions, actually. And I'm sure President Trump does have the best briefings.
Well, I think it's time for us to start thinking about what chance is there that this succeeds. And I would say, coordinated correctly, there's a very good chance it succeeds. Some of the things that would assure that you were doing that have not been done. And I would feel much, much better if they were done. But
Well, we can go into that even more detail next.
if it is always possible they attack over the weekend too.
Before the meeting, perhaps?
They did that before. They can have a meeting that they canceled. Right?
And maybe that's why they canceled or tried to move this one. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's coming up pretty soon. He is taking a certain amount of over anxious criticism from people saying, well, are you ever going to attack? And
I would say if I'm Iran, I'm saying I'm only meeting at a Trump-owned property or a Wickoff-owned property.
Well, might not be so bad. Might be a good idea. Right.
Yeah, might be.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I agree.
So the question is, when do we hit the beaches? Possibly tomorrow, possibly Sunday, if we're going to do it. Yep. I think we're lined up about as well as we can be. We're lined up about as well as we can possibly be.
Yes. So just keep everything in your prayers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else do we got going on?
Well, we've got possibly demonstrations tomorrow over the most recent riots.
Mm-hmm.
That took place.
Right.
The ones in Minneapolis and a few other places that were.
Right.
And I think the one in Minneapolis may still be operating from.
We've seen some gatherings, but let's check in with some of our people there.
A lot of their signal groups and things were infiltrated, and I think that a lot of them are afraid of prosecution with good reason.
So I think that we're going to have a weekend of watching and waiting. Trump is after $1 billion from Harvard.
Billion.
Right?
Make it 2.
Harvard, well, that's probably like about 1% of their total endowment, if that. So they can afford it.
Yeah, but he wants to do something meaningful with it, right? So I think we're We're down to the last strokes for tonight.
We are Wednesday, hump day.
Just take a look. Make sure there's nothing else in the news.
Let's see here.
Well, the perennial Epstein files tidbit, keeps coming out. But basically the same story that we've been hearing.
The Clintons are testifying.
Oh, that's right.
Man.
We covered that. Well, we covered that last night.
Yeah, the Clintons are testifying.
We covered that last night. So that'll be interesting. We'll have our reporters there.
Oh, that's going to be get your popcorn ready.
And don't cry into it. It'll get all soggy.
All the bars in DC will be playing that one with drink specials.
So it's going to be very interesting as we lead up to next week, and then we go right into the Super Bowl.
Right.
Did we talk about charter schools at all?
We didn't, and we should. The charter schools
Just
have gotten
quickly,
a good deal of attention because a study came out this week that showed that in New York and some other places that have very large charter school movements, which are schools that are run by teachers, but not teachers who are members of the two that are responsible for all the deaths that have taken place.
Right.
So the I think it always is very, very hard when you're dealing with this to see the overlap of communism and Islamic extremism. So when we're dealing with Iran, we're dealing with Islamic extremism, the Shiite version,
Yep.
and the most exaggerated form of the Quran.
Yes.
And it leads them to a couple of similar principles to communists, that you can lie to achieve your purpose,
Yep.
that you can kill to achieve your purpose, because your purpose is higher than anything else. And that is the spread of the religion.
Right.
Now, that's very, very similar to communism, which allows the same thing. And if the communists can sort of deflect and not think of the Islamic religion as a religion,
Yep.
they can work very closely with them because they both are very, very maniacal killers.
Right.
And they make a heck of a combination.
That's right.
And I'm just going to throw you a New York Post headline. This was an article by Corey DeAngelis, and he's one of the foremost voices on school choice.
You got to get him on.
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of noise, fighting the good fight.
It's terrible what we do on it. But go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, yeah,
it's terrible the way we freeze it out.
Yeah, and I guess it's just what the power of the teachers unions and
totally. So the major reason the charter schools work better is they're not operating under the strictures of the teachers union. You can evaluate teachers, you can
fire
pay for
teachers,
performance, you can fire them, you can demote them, you can tell them when they're doing things right and wrong, and that translates itself into rewarding teachers to do a good job and getting rid of teachers who shouldn't be teachers, whereas the public school system hangs on to teachers that shouldn't be teachers forever.
Right.
So it has a much more motivated and much better group of teachers.
Oh, right. Yeah. And actually a handful of one thing that's getting news, and I think it's the Chicago Teachers Union president puts their kid in private school, and that's not an isolated incident. So they're choosing.
Right.
But they don't want choice for everyone else.
Well, it's always been true in New York that all the politicians put their kids in private schools, but they would require the people of New York to put the kids in the public schools.
Yep.
And they would not go with the compromise, which might cost a little bit more, but not the same as private schools, for charter schools, parochial schools, and similar kinds of schools. And that's going to have to be done. That's going to have to be done because it is a brainwashing operation. They were caught. I don't know if it's the UFT or the other teachers union. I think it's the other one. But they were caught giving out. Nope. It's both of them giving out materials talking about the last Saturday and Sunday. They should participate. The students should participate.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's actually coming out of a handful of the really woke districts where they're encouraging the walkouts.
Right.
That's taking place in partisan political politics and it should deprive them.
And a lot of them
Of
gender
funding.
affirming care as well. Like and then they don't tell the parents about it.
But they've operated like little kings up until now. So this becomes like shock therapy for them. So let's make sure we've got everything here now. We covered the Guthrie case, no breakthroughs. You want to just take a check and see, some of these you want to look like every moment in a way.
That's right. Well, President Trump has spoken with Savannah, and Savannah.
He said he was going to do that, right?
Right.
Trump is pushing the federal control of elections.
That's a bit. Yeah, we like that's an important one.
We'll call her right back. Guthrie. No developments on Guthrie, right?
No, we have a video from the family we can
report.
play. We have a new video released from the family we can play.
Pardon me?
We have a new video from the family that was just released. If we want to play that.
Okay, well, maybe we'll do that right at the end.
Yep.
The meeting in Abu Dhabi, we don't know the result. We don't know the result. That took place today. And even though there were Russian strikes, maybe you should take that and just say we'll call right back. And in Taiwan, they have reaffirmed their connection to us. In India, they have agreed on a reasonable tariff, and they have cut off Russian oil. Perfect. Trump is looking for $1 billion from Harvard, and it looks like the meeting with Colombia went well. And the president is pushing federal control of elections.
And a lot of Democrat governors are opposing him on that front.
And Ryan Wesley Ruth, which we started with, was sentenced to life imprisonment and change.
And AOC is now dating him.
But nobody's figured out who paid for his 4 or 6 trips to Ukraine, which seems awful suspicious for a guy who's broke.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
You got it.
Oh my gosh.
You got it, and then you've got this, and we have these strange things going on with Iran, where they want to talk about peace, but they're attacking us and attacking Ukraine, and the Russians the Russians really don't want to talk about peace, but Trump says they do, and they're attacking Ukraine and killing civilians.
Yep.
So all of that's going to get all worked up by tomorrow, and we'll report on it.
Right.
And Epstein has turned out to be exactly what I said it would be. It has actually revealed a lot more innocent people than anything else so far, which is a shame. I mean, and it's a shame that it can't reveal the guilty people. I don't know the documents well enough to know if there's something they're missing or something they're not doing, but I mean, it does seem that it's just a list, and the list doesn't tell you whether they were aware of the underlying most serious criminal offense, which were the children.
Well, and part of what I'm wondering is like, are these emails even real in a lot of cases?
Well, we don't know, right? We don't know if there were any. I would assume the FBI did some kind of a job to try to verify them as much as possible.
Because if someone's getting a massage, I can take their phone and email a whole bunch of stuff to them.
But I would assume they're going to kind of check it, and to the extent they can, try to verify them. But hey, how do I know? I haven't seen them.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be back tomorrow night. Go over to now. Dr. Maria has the night off, but there should be a very nice show there.
Right. I believe so.
Which would probably be the one before or maybe 2 before. And we'll be back with you tomorrow at 7. And at 7, we'll be at the, you know where? You know where we'll be?
The great Lindell TV, baby.
You're right. But also X and a lot of others. Then we'll be on X and a lot of others at 8 for the very famous
America's Mayor Live.
The fastest hour on the internet.
Okay. A lot to catch up on. I don't know what we'll be reporting tomorrow night.
Right.
We might be reporting some kind of deal on in Israel. We might be reporting that we're getting closer to a deal with Iran. We might be reporting we're attacking Iran.
Right. Right.
We are reporting 700 less ICE in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but they haven't left. And Holman is saying they're just turning the guys over nicely. Now, they opposed doing that for 12 years. They didn't turn them over from the prison for 12 years.
Right.
So it's very interesting.
Right.
To see how long that lasts, if it does last. Meanwhile, they're saying terrible things, but they're doing it.
Yep.
There is a great article in the Times. I never say that, but when's the last time I said that? I think I was about 4 years old. Right. And it's called "Will Newsom Be the Democrats' Next Mistake?" And it goes ahead and it points out very, very quick. I'm going to do this in a much nicer chart. I'm going to have one of my artists do it here. Affordability, U.S. News and World Report. California's last. Poverty and income on equality. Along with Louisiana, it's the poorest state in the country, even with its wealth.
With regard to income inequality?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Homelessness. Homelessness. Oh, it's ridiculous. Homelessness, 1 in 200 people in Los Angeles is homeless. They make up 44% of the homeless in the United States. Flight. Tie for 1, 2, 3. However, they do on one statistic. Fastest in the U.S. They lose one person every 1 minute and 44 seconds.
Well, I'm going to just add one. Most burnt. Would that be a good one?
No, water. They had no water in the fire hydrants. The least amount of water in the fire hydrants. So, and that's Governor Newsom. So we'll do a better analysis of that for you, because it's just you just can't make this up. So thank you very, very much, and make sure you pray for Iran. Boy, they're right in the middle of it right now. Israel, right in the middle of it right now. Of course, we want to make sure that the people of Ukraine are, and the people of the United States, and our great president. Let's make sure that we pray to God to give him all the wisdom that he is going to need, and pray for us. We need help and we need guidance, and your great country needs your help in order to help to liberate the world. God bless America.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She is funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day, despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief. We are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She's 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, He is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We speak to you every moment, and we pray without ceasing, and we rejoice in advance for the day that we hold you in our arms again. We love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
We love you, Mom. Stay strong.
We love you, Mom. We love you.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. It was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply